This morning, as the sun rises, we look out over the island of Elba from our motorhome parking space in Piombino. Yesterday evening and tonight, many motorhomes had already gathered here, waiting for their ferry to the island of Elba. We quickly rebooked our appointment and were already on the ferry to Elba at 10 a.m. The crossing takes a good hour. At first, we see the old town of Piombino, but the houses and the castle become smaller the further we move away. Instead, the small volcanic island of Pianosa and its big sister, Elba, become increasingly visible in the rising sun. We approach Portoferraio, the ferry port and capital of Elba. About 1.5 kilometers north, on a small cliff, stands the lighthouse, built in 1910. The mountain ridge of Portoferraio is now becoming increasingly visible. In addition to another lighthouse, the fortresses of Forte Stella and Forte Falcone stand here. We won't visit the two fortresses on our walk through the town, as they are located too high up in the town. Nevertheless, the overall picture is impressive. Towards the harbor entrance, the mountain ridge flattens out, and the sandstone-colored houses shine in the sun. The hexagonal Torre della Linguella marks the entrance to the harbor. The harbor was already valued by the Romans. Etruscans, Ligurians, and Greeks settled on the island thousands of years ago before Napoleon was exiled here in 1814. Our walk takes us along the waterline. Proud yachts and sailboats are moored here, and repeatedly our gaze draws us upwards to the two fortresses. On the side of the houses opposite the marina, one restaurant stands next to the next. Now in autumn, it's completely empty. Through the Porta del Mare, we enter the old town, surrounded by the remains of the city walls from the Medici era. Through narrow alleys, we reach the Piazza della Repubblica, with a war memorial in the center of the square. From here, wide staircases lead to the upper town and the two castles. To the right is the cathedral, consecrated in 1554 and dedicated to the Nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary. In the apse of the church stands a marble altar and a valuable wooden crucifix from the 16th century. To the right of it is the gilded altarpiece of the so-called Lamentation of Christ, known as the Bonzino. On the other side of the square stands the town hall. From here, we struggle up the very uneven stairs. The steps in front of the Chapel of Mercy indicate the steepness of the climb. The library door invites us into the courtyard. The library itself houses 27,000 volumes on the island's history on the third floor. But even here, on the walls of the courtyard's arcades, we can see some interesting scenes of secular life in the Middle Ages. The square in front of the library is used for performances in the summer. But we also see how high we still have to climb to reach the Falcone fortress. We don't want to risk that. We walk back toward the city on Via Victor Hugo. Time and again, we see very strange alleys leading downhill or uphill. However, they are not accessible by car. Occasionally, we have a view over the houses to the sea. The local theater on Piazza Antonio Gramsci appears to have just been restored. From up here, you certainly have the best view of the harbor. In the early afternoon, we set off in the motorhome toward the small town of Bagnaia, located in the bay of the same name. First, we enjoy the view with a cappuccino, and then in the evening, we enjoy a great meal with friends in the adjacent restaurant. Tomorrow, we continue on to Rio Marina and a campsite near Porto Azzurro.